I've been wanting to review and show you guys Ubuntu DDE, one of the Linux distributions that I've actually tried and installed on my laptop. So for this, for this time, what I'll be doing is I'm going to show you a run through on how to install Ubuntu DDE. By the way, I'm using the version 20, which is nicknamed Vocal Fossa, and also at the same time, it's their long-term support version. Okay. Um, so basically, Ubuntu DDE is a remix of Ubuntu system with a Deepin desktop environment. So there's also another version of Linux, which is Linux DD or Deepin. Okay, so Deepin. So that's another version. So this time, what they basically did was just try to combine Ubuntu and the Deepin desktop environment. Okay, so I've already installed it on my I've already created a new virtual machine. I've already added the ISO file. So this time let's try to unpause and let's try to fire up the installation process. So currently we are booting. Okay, so it's actually considered as one of the most beautiful Ubuntu distribution, Ubuntu-based distribution. Okay, let's just like select. Let's just try to press Control C to cancel file checks in process or in progress. Because what I wanted to do is just wanted to show you the looks and at the same time a little bit of the feel of this distribution. So Ubuntu DDE 20 is based on Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. It will be supported by Ubuntu DDE community for a bit some time. Actually, there's only two versions of Ubuntu DDE that has been released so far based on their website. This one and at the same time also the Ubuntu DDE 21, which I'll also be showing you um, once I already installed it on my laptop and try it out. So this is not actually first impression. So I've been using, as what I've said, I've been using Ubuntu DDE for quite some time before, and I've just from this one I shifted to Linux Mint. Now I just wanted to try Linux Mint, but I would highly recommend this one. So we have your friendly reminder. So we are asked to select. You only have two options. We have here effect mode and normal mode. So for effect mode, it's going to have a based on their description, delicate experience, and with normal mode, we have here fast performance. So we'll just have to select normal mode since we are on a virtual machine, and there are some things that cannot work properly, or it will actually lag, or it will be a little bit slow if we are to select effect mode, especially that we're in a virtual machine. So let's just try to select normal mode. So this is actually also an installation guide. So at least you guys, as if you've been following my my channel, I would normally try to give a run through of what to do during the installation process. So as you've noticed, the menu is located at the bottom, which looks like actually a dock located at the bottom. So we have here the Ubuntu install Ubuntu DDE LTS. Okay, let's just try to double click to install. So we have the installer. So the installer is currently firing up. Welcome to Ubuntu DDE Remix 2004 Focal. Okay, so let's just try to select by default again American English. So I have to click next. Okay, so we have a region. Since I'm in Manila, so I just have to select region Asia, then zone is Manila. For the language or keyboard layout, I'm going to select English US. Then I'm just going to have it here as default. Okay, so we have here, this is the partition. Okay, so let's just try to select erase disk. Okay, so we don't need to encrypt anything. But if you want, you can also try to encrypt. But in my case, I'm not going to encrypt. So click next. Now, I'm going to put my name. df. Uh, okay, need to specify my password. Okay, so everything is set. So if you're Ubuntu DDE installer, then click next. So everything has been set. So location, uh, keyboard, and partition. Let's try to select this time. Create a new MSS partition. Create new 27 MB partition. Virtual hard disk with system uh, XT4. Okay, so to select install. Now, Ubuntu DDE is about to make changes into your disk. In order to install Ubuntu DDE 2004 LTS, you will not be able to undo these changes. So let's try to click this time install now. Okay, so we have here Ubuntu with the most beautiful desktop environment. Actually, I really would agree with this one. So it's one of those operating systems that is actually quite beautiful when it comes to aesthetics and it comes to looks. Okay, so let's try to wait for the installation process this time. Okay, so we're all done with the installation. So let's try to this time to click restart now to restart the system. But before we restart, let's try first to remove the ISO file. Okay. Okay, so let's try to click done this time. So we're booting this time our virtual machine for the very first time. So it's still currently loading. It will actually load shortly. Let's just try to wait first. So this is the login screen of Ubuntu DDE. As you notice, it's already showing how beautiful it is. I keep on repeating the word beautiful because it is actually. I'm just being honest. So we have here the start the start button, the keyboard, and this is its login screen. Okay, so let's try to select this time the login screen. Try to log in for the very first time. Let's still select normal mode since we're in a virtual machine. It's still currently loading. Actually, this will load a lot faster if it's actually installed on a computer rather than on the virtual machine. So we are already inside the desktop, or we're already in the desktop of the operating system. Now again, let's just try to change the display settings first. Um, Notice by the way that I just right click here, then we have here display settings. Okay, let's try to select resolution. For resolution, again, by default, I use this one, 1440 by 900. Okay, so let's try to click restore. Let me just try to adjust my machine, adjust window size. Okay, did adjust. Okay, display settings, I try to select it again. It's 1440 by, okay, then save. Okay, let me also adjust. So we have adjusted the window size, and this is its desktop environment. So again, we have here the dock at the bottom. Then we can actually try to resize, maybe uh, uh, co- ex toggle, collapse or expand. Then this is your software updater, control center, file manager. You have multitasking view. You have the launcher. You have the the calendar and clock at the same time. You also have your power and your trash or recycle bin, as it is called in Windows. Now let's try to look at the different applications that already comes pre-installed in Ubuntu DDE. Okay, let's try to select launcher. Okay, so as you've noticed, it's a kind of like GNOME or GNOME as it's normally being called. So these are all the different applications installed. Okay, although it hasn't been categorized, it hasn't been arranged categorically, meaning it's not arranged in in a category form. Okay, but you can just use your mouse to scroll. Okay, so I'm currently using my mouse to scroll. You can also toggle, yeah, to make it a menu, somewhat of a menu like uh, for the applications. Okay, so if you wanted to have something like GNOME style, then you can have this one. Or if you wanted to have it a menu, much similar to Windows, you can also just click this button. On the upper left, you can also see the different categories. Okay, but if you're just going to click again, try to see, so it will be displayed in a tile manner. Okay, so basically this is all the applications installed. Now, in my case, I actually wanted it to be displayed looking like this, looking like a menu. Okay, so their file manager, let's like to look at the individual components of this distribution. So file manager, screenshot, text editor, Thunderbird, mail, terminal. Let's like to see the terminal. Okay, so try to see if NeoFetch comes pre-installed. Oh, so there it is. So NeoFetch is also installed already. Okay, so this is it. So we have here Ubuntu VirtualBox, uptime 5 minutes. Its environment is Deepin, then Windows Manager is Quinn. Notice also that we have here for the terminal, we have Deepin terminal So far, based on my experience, I have I have three terminals, including this one. So the first one is GNOME, that's the most common one. Then XFCE, then this one is Deepin. So I have to click exit. Okay. Let's show desktop trash. Okay, let's try to select it by category. So for internet, we only have here two. We have Thunderbird, and we have here Firefox. Usually, Firefox comes as a default browser of each operating system, or each Linux operating system. Then for video, we have Celluloid and MPV Media Player, although I haven't tried those two applications. Graphics, these are all the different graphic tools. Okay. Games, you have here chess, mahjong, and Sudoku. So if you're fond of playing chess, you can play chess with this one. Office application. Okay, this is also a good thing. At least you don't need to install Office application separately. Unlike, let's say, for example, in elementary OS, wherein you still need to install it separately. This one comes pre-installed with Office. Then we have here system. So these are all the different applications that can be used on the system. So we have here such as maybe printers, backup, network configuration, disk, synaptic package manager, software updater. We don't actually we need to update this particular distribution, but I'm not going to update this one yet because I'm doing a this is just for demo purposes again. Okay. Now let's try to do something else. Let's try to change the wallpaper. So what I can I created the folder. So let me just try to delete. We have already one file. Okay. Are you sure want to empty? You can say to click yes. It has also a nice sound effect, which I just heard for the very first time. Okay, so let's try to right click here. Let's try to select wallpaper and screensaver. Now, this is where we can actually change the wallpaper at the same time also the screensaver. So let's try to select this one. Okay, you don't want that. This one. Try to like look for something else. Try to select this one. Okay, so we have our wallpaper set up, a different wallpaper. Then let's try to select screensaver. This is one of the very first time that I have seen that they are that seen in a Linux distribution that uses a screensaver. Normally, I don't find I don't find them using screensaver, but this is actually the very first time. So let's try to look for a good screensaver. Let's try to use this one. Okay, so it will be fired up after 10 minutes of inactivity. Okay, so that's it. Now, the dock here at the bottom, we can actually change the location also. So we have here mode, fashion mode and efficient mode. So let's try to select maybe efficient mode. So this is efficient mode. So it actually looks like the menu bar at the menu bar at very much similar to Windows. But if we're going to select it fashion mode, it looks like a dock in Mac. Okay. Then we have location. So to put it on top. Okay, I like mine on top, so we have this one. Next is size. So it only has 3 sizes. So let's try to select small. Make it a little bit small. Okay. Then status, keep shown. So let's try to keep it shown. Then plug in. Okay, that's it. You can also change the setting, by the way. Try to select this one. Control center. So this is the control center. This is where we actually change the screen resolution. So you have the display, then default applications. These are all the different default applications. Okay. You can also personalize based on the theme. These are all the different theme that comes pre-installed. Okay, so I have to select back. The network, if you wanted to set up the network. Sound, time and date, the power management if you're running it on a laptop or netbook. Okay, then you also have your mouse, then keyboard and language, and finally system information. So this is actually to wrap things up. This is actually Ubuntu DDE. So I would highly recommend, guys, that you try it out on your own laptops because you won't regret it. I never regretted trying this one out, even if I'm just using it on a virtual machine, or even I actually went to Linux Mint. But this is one of those Linux distribution that I will go back to. Okay, so actually, I'm thinking right now of going back to Ubuntu DDE. So if I'm not going to, so if I won't be considering shifting to Manjaro or an Arch-based Linux, I'll be going back to either DDE or ubuntubased. Okay, so I would suggest that you really try it out because you won't regret it. And at the same time, also, I would consider this one as one of the most beautiful Linux distributions currently out there. If you find the contents of this blog useful or interesting, don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button. And if you wanted to be notified every time a new video is uploaded, don't forget to hit the bell notification button. Thanks.